What up? This is Dylan Joe, and you're watching the AU Review.
Well, welcome to the AU. Thanks for joining us
Thanks
today.
for having me, bro.
You got a bunch of exciting things happening. I guess we'll start with the album.
Yeah, cool.
Couple of weeks until it's released. Although by the time people are watching this, it'll be probably just days away.
Yeah, man. Hopefully.
Days away from the
Yeah.
release. I guess tell me a little bit about the concept behind the record, Authentic Lemonade. How did the album start?
Yeah, how'd I get such an obscure name for an album?
And what sort of lemonade are we talking about? How crushed to the lemons?
Yeah, dude.
Are,
Wow.
are we going for the traditional American lemonade?
Oh man, yeah. I guess that's up to whoever. Yeah, where I'm giving the lemonade to. Are we in Australia or America? No. I think, man. To be completely honest, the title actually came from after I'd finished writing the record. I realized there's a theme that kind of went throughout the record that was, I guess, based around the idea of just being yourself, being genuine. And so, I realized how much that came through every song, and I was like, well, the album's about being genuine then, And so I was like, well, what's a product that's kind of represents that, it's kind of rarer to find an authentic version of it than it is not to. And I was like, a lemonade. How often do you find authentic lemonade these days? It's just mass-produced, stocked, bottled lemonade. So that's kind of where it ended up coming from. That's kind of a weird way to do it. But yeah, I think for me that was the biggest part about the album. Paying attention to just being yourself, not kind of, I don't know, being warped by what the world wants you to be. Yeah.
That feels like you mentioned that you kind of sat down and listened to the music you created, and it just sort of naturally fit together in that way.
Yeah, totally.
And the music we've heard from you so far certainly fits down the same road. So,
cool.
So there was no point that you really sat down to I'm going to make a record, and this is how it's going to be, and this is how it's going to look, and this is how it's going to sound?
No, well, not really, man. I mean, I actually what kind of really channeled it was I did this really cool task where I made a playlist of almost every song I've ever loved since I can remember. And I'm talking going back to when I was 8 years old, and I can remember tracks that my family would play and whatever, and why was it that I loved those, or why was it that I kept playing those songs on repeat. And I tried to strip those back and figure it out. And then when I did, I realized all the elements that make up a song and what it was about those. So I used those elements to create the album. It's I really loved that this song had heavy keys focus and was based around keys progressions. So I was I'm just gonna make that song this. So I loved that this song was a spoken word. So I was I might do a bit of that element within the album. So I just used those little inspirations, really. Yeah.
And the songs aren't all just about positivity as well, but you've actually done some great things with your music as well.
Yeah, cheers.
Tell me a little bit about some of the endeavors that you've been able to support with your music.
Cool. I think one of the ones that sticks out the most was something we just recently did for a song called What's Good, and that's a song that's the last one on the album. I originally wrote it as an outro, and then I guess the team around me, manager and label and everyone was this is more than an outro, we should do something for this song. So we decided to do a video clip, more we could do a house party and whatnot, and then we kind of we started sitting on the idea, and we're well, the song's actually about what's paying attention to what's good in the world. So let's do something cool. So I kind of reached out to some networks and decided that we could do a fundraiser for a really cool charitable cause and make that the video instead, and use the budget from the video clip to create that. So that's what we ended up doing. We teamed up with an organization called the Australian Himalayan Foundation, and they work based in Nepal and in Sydney actually. And we did some work with them, and they were happy to back it, so all the money and the proceeds went directly to them, which goes directly to Nepal. So it was really cool, man. All the proceeds went to the earthquake relief. And I was mad. Dude, I was so stoked to be able to write a song that actually could do more than just, have people listen to it, That's been a real big one, for sure.
And you got to work with some great people on Swing,
man.
The party track.
The party track. Yeah, man.
Talk us a little bit through that, and
Cool.
And I noticed too, so you kind of released this kind of collaborative track, but there's not much else collaboration on the record.
No, there isn't, man. When I started it, I was like, I kind of want this to be a bit of a mark for me. You know, I want to prove to people that I'm not just a rapper, you know, and I think that's hopefully where we're sitting is, I was like, I want to prove that I can do my own choruses, that I can play the musical elements. And I guess for me, I was like, I want to do this album on my own. You know, I feel like I can do it. Then what's the point of getting other people on if I don't need that? Yeah. So that was the idea. And then we'd pretty much finished the album, and we were looking at all the tracks in the album, and I was like, there's a lot of tracks that, you know, kind of fit the mold for like a radio style track. You know, they're short songs, they're kind of capturing pretty early on, and they have a hook, and then they have a verse, and they have another hook. And I was like, and my manager said to me, why don't you make something just for fun? You know, why don't you, and like all the songs I wrote because I wanted to write, but he was like, why don't you make something different that doesn't fit the mold? And I was like, yeah, I'm down with that. So I teed up with the executive producer from the album, Cam Bluff, and we sat down and tried to figure out an idea, and we grabbed this idea and we wrote a bass line with a keys player by the name of Damian Smith. And we're like, let's do 3 different tempos, not do a chorus, and just rap and just see where it goes and like flip it a little bit. And that's what happened, man. We just changed the tempo a bunch of times, and then we're like, let's really bring in a hip hop element, and made this sick old school like drum break and layered that in, and yeah, it became its own thing, I guess. But that was so much fun working with Mantra, working with Ism. Mantra's been a mentor of mine for probably about 3 years now, or nearing it anyway, and he's really helped me through the journey of understanding the industry, like the pros and cons, what to expect, how to be yourself in that. So I got mad love for him, and I was like, I got to get him on this, you know. He's been amazing to me. So, and then the Bliss and Esso boys have been, they've been real bros to me as well. Kind of been like older brothers, I guess, giving me insight into what to expect again. And I'm just a huge fan. DJ Ism was the first dude I met from the Bliss and Esso crew. And yeah, we really hit it off. I have a lot of love for him, and he's super talented. So I was like, I want to get someone in as a feature spot that's not just another rapper, you know. So that was cool. We had so much fun working on that project. The video was heaps of fun. That was a real highlight of the album, man. Yeah, for sure.
And you've got a massive tour to support the release of the record.
Yeah, it's gonna be cool.
Are you going to anywhere? Are you playing anywhere you haven't played before?
No, man. We've actually played all the spots. We're doing mostly like a major city tour. Yep. Like we just got off the back of doing South Century tour, and that was 50 shows.
Yeah, that was epic. Did you go over with him to New Zealand and stuff as well?
No, we didn't. That's the only place we didn't play was New Zealand. But yeah, so we ended up playing 48, I think, or 47
that was
out of the 50.
An epic run.
Dude, it was so big, eh?
I saw him right before it started, and there's a look of terror in his eyes.
Yeah, man. Yeah, which is deserving. It was pretty epic, man. And we had chats about the tour before the tour started. And I was like, bro, what are you getting me into? Like, this is heavy. But man, it went so well. Yeah. We had a really good chat about, last night was the last show, the 50th show in Sydney. We had a really good chat about it, and everyone on the tour was just dumbfounded at how well it went, how smooth it went, how much we all got along, how much we loved every show. And that was a real cool thing to be able to walk away with, you know, like saying, well, we did 50 shows and we loved it, you know.
Yeah. And you would have gotten, I mean, in that sense, you would have gotten to some places that you've never been before and probably will never get back to.
No disrespect to the places, but I played in places I'd never even heard of before, you know. I didn't even know there was 50 places you could play shows at in Australia. So it was definitely a cool experience, man. Met a bunch of sweet people at every place. I'd love to go back.
You get people that don't normally get to see shows,
totally,
or at least of artists who have, you know, a following.
And that was the beauty of it. You know, we went to some country towns and people would come up and be like, man, this is one of the best nights of my life. Or, you know, like, this is crazy. Like, thank you so much for coming out. Like, it means the world to us. And I was like, we just played a show, you know, we didn't change the world, but for them, it was a really big deal. And that's what I love, you know. I'd prefer to play to 5 people and it mean the world to them than play to 1,000 that just kind of there because they heard of your song. You know, and so for me, it was really special. It was really cool, man. And I'm really keen to try and get back to every place. At some point in my career, we'll see how we go. Yeah.
You can do the next 50-date tour.
Yeah,
Bring
man,
Seth along.
Bring Seth. Hey, Seth, man. I hope, I hope you're hearing this. You could support me on tour. You know, if you're alright with that. It was cool, man. Really fun.
Call it the payback tour.
The payback tour, yeah. deal with this, man. Yeah.
Well, thanks very much for joining us. Best of luck with the record.
Thank you, bro. Yeah.
We'll see you soon.
I appreciate it heaps, man. Thanks for having me. Yeah, cheers.